So the girls are fighting, y'all. The girls are fighting. So some Trump officials, is this the first time in the second term that this has happened? Where you have some real heat being directed at each other. You have Peter Navarro, Trump's economic advisor, and you have Elon Musk, Trump's co-president, his shadow president. They despise each other. So let me walk you through this here. Let's start with this. Elon Musk made a direct appeal to Trump to reverse his sweeping new tariffs. The world's richest person, a key Trump advisor and political donor, was ultimately unsuccessful. So Elon was telling Trump, hey, dog, this is a horrible policy. It's not going to work. Don't do it right now. Elon, I'm sure he's making this argument for personal, piggy, selfish reasons because he does a lot of trade, right? He's got a lot of business deals with China, for example. And so this is absolutely going to hammer his businesses too. I'm sure that's the perspective that he's coming from, but it also does happen to be true that these universal, across-the-board, massive tariffs that aren't even reciprocal, they're 4 times more than reciprocal, it is just economic insanity. It is absolute lunacy. So on that front, Elon is actually correct. All right, let's continue. Ready? This gets interesting. Peter Navarro on Elon Musk, quote, "We all understand in the White House, and the American people understand, that Elon's a car manufacturer. But he's not a car manufacturer. He's a car assembler. In many cases, if you go to his Texas plant, a good part of the engines that he gets, which in the EV case are the batteries, comes from Japan and come from China. The electronics come from Taiwan. And what we want, and the difference is in our thinking, and Elon's on this, is that we want the tires made in Akron. We want the transmissions made in Indianapolis. We want the engines made in Flint and Saginaw. And we want the cars manufactured here." Okay. So let me break that down for you. What he's saying is, Elon doesn't do enough of his business here, and we want his business here. So sort of fuck him, right? That's what he's saying. Now, understand something, and far be it from me to ever, be kind to Elon Musk, but a fact is a fact. And if you go look up which car manufacturers do the most in the USA, right? The answer is Tesla. So for Tesla, for the cars sold in America that are Teslas, more of their work gets done here than any other car manufacturer. It's just the truth. I was skeptical at first too, but then I did a deep dive on it and I came out going, he does as much as he can here. But what's the point? That some of the things that he needs, some of the raw materials that he needs, they come from other places because they have to, because we don't have the capacity to do it here, right? And that's the thing that Trump doesn't seem to understand, this Navarro guy doesn't seem to understand, is like, there are some things we simply don't have here. Like, we just don't have them here. And so, to say this, it's kind of stupid. Like, it's kind of ignorant on the facts of reality. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Navarro just doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, by the way, Navarro, we just talked about this the other day. He talked about how he cited an expert in his books, an expert by the name of Ron Vera, V-A-R-A. And anytime he would make a pro-tariff argument, he would say, as Ron Vera says, and as this expert says, this economist says, right? Well, come to find out, Ron Vera is himself. It's Navarro messed around, right? Like he took his own name and turned it into another name. And so he's citing himself. That is literally like paranoid schizophrenic stuff. Or it's just he's a complete and utter total fraud. The way that Trump found this guy is he told Kushner roughly what his economic beliefs were, and Kushner went on Amazon and was reading through titles of economic books and came across one from Peter Navarro about how, like, China's killing America or something, or the death of America by China, something like that. And he was like, that's it, we'll go with this guy. This guy's a complete and utter hack fraud. Now, to be fair, Elon is also a complete and utter hack fraud. The guy's a scam artist to the max. Don't believe me? Go watch the Thunderfoot videos on Elon Musk, and he'll explain how this guy's been doing vaporware forever. He's been committing fraud forever. He's stealing tax money and not delivering $38 billion worth, right? But what Navarro is saying here is kind of fucking stupid, because Elon does as much as one can possibly do in the United States for his cars here. Okay? All right, now, here we go. Next. So Elon Musk says, Navarro is truly a moron. What he says here is demonstrably false. Tesla has the most American-made cars. Navarro is dumber than a sack of bricks. By any definition whatsoever, Tesla is the most vertically integrated auto manufacturer in America with the highest percentage of U.S. content. So fact check, that's actually true. It's true. It's just true. And you guys know, I'm second to no one when it comes to despising Elon Musk. I rip this guy on a daily basis more than anybody else. All right, more. So Elon Musk responds to this tweet about Navarro coming after him, and he calls him Peter Retardo. Peter Navarro, Peter Retardo. So the girls are fighting, y'all. The girls are fighting, y'all. And look, in this instance, here's the thing, right? In this instance, Elon is right. And here's what Trump is missing. Here's what Navarro is missing. I'm not anti-tariff. In fact, I've called myself a protectionist on this show before. But obviously the devil's in the details, right? So the kind of tariffs I support would be targeted tariffs on specific industries to raise the price of those foreign goods. But then you do what's called industrial policy. You massively subsidize the U.S. industries that compete with it, right? And then what happens is you create an American product that's a good product, and you create it at a lower price, thereby incentivizing people to buy American. But again, the tariffs have to be targeted. They have to be targeted. What Trump did and what Navarro likes is literally universal across the board tariffs where everybody gets hit, even when we can't make the shit here. And that just leads to a catastrophe, right? That just leads to raising the prices of everything. And the other thing is, they don't believe in any industrial policy. They don't believe in subsidizing any U.S. industries. They say, oh, the free market will take care of it. They'll come here. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful. They're pouring back into this country. No, they're fucking not. In fact, the opposite is happening. They're closing factories that they were going to open because they're going, it costs too much now to build a factory because you just slapped tariffs on all the raw materials I need to build the fucking factory, right? So on this one, Elon's right. Like, Peter Navarro should be nowhere near power. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And what happens when you do universal tariffs across the board and you do zero industrial policy? In fact, you do austerity at the same time. A fucking depression. That's what happens. The price of everything absolutely skyrockets. Businesses don't flourish here. The opposite happens. A lot of businesses will shut down. People will lose their jobs. Their 401ks are being wiped out by the stock market. This is an economic nightmare. This is an economic nightmare. And so, we're also at the point, I hate to say this, but it's true. Even if Trump were to reverse course, I think the damage is done. You have damaged our relationship with our allies so thoroughly that now they're like, we don't want to do business with America anymore. We don't want them to be the world leader. We don't like the dollar as the world reserve currency. Other countries are more stable, less chaotic. They're good to their word. They don't do trade wars and threaten literal invasions of their allies. And so even if Trump were to reverse on all the tariffs right now, I think the damage is done. And so the girls are fighting. Let me tell you something. The fights are only going to get more brutal, more vicious, more common, and happen with more members of the administration. Because everybody's going to be pointing fingers at everybody else, saying, you fucked this up, you fucked that up, how could you do this, how could you do that? And the reality is, a pox on all their houses, because they're all ruining this country in their own unique way. And when it comes to Elon in particular, you already know this, but it bears repeating. The way he's ruining this country is as they're destroying our trade policy, he's destroying our social safety net, cutting 50% of Social Security offices, trying to make it collapse under its own weight, destroying the CFPB, the anti-scam police, destroying the NIH, National Institute of Health, cutting pediatric cancer research and things of that nature, firing anywhere between 100,000 and 250,000 government workers. At the same time, we're about to have massive private sector layoffs on top of the public sector layoffs. So in this fight, Elon is right, but broadly speaking, they're all fucking guilty in their own way. That's for sure. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.